right along to building a profitable cloud MSP, what I do different and what I do again. And help me welcome Joe Morgan, Cloud Program Director from Virtuoso and also a sponsor.
All right, hello. How's everybody doing today? Enjoying this Miami weather? My name is Joe Morgan, and I am here to talk about what it takes to build a profitable business as an MSP around selling cloud. The question is this difficult to do? This is really going to be targeted towards the MSPs who are just getting started on selling cloud. It's not difficult, but you do have to be smart and you have to have a good approach for it, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. I've only got 10 minutes to do that, so I'm going to get right into it. I am Joe Morgan of Joe's Data Center. I founded that in 2008. I was actually an MSP to start with, and then I transitioned from MSP into actually doing infrastructure as a service, offering both web hosting and co-location services, bare metal servers, and then I am actually exiting from that right now and coming on board with Virtuoso as Cloud Program Director for Virtuoso. And I'm kind of bringing that unique perspective. As I was a customer of Virtuoso, I used their software to build my CSP platform, and then now I'm going to be helping other partners be successful in selling cloud in the same way I was. And I've got 5 different do's and don'ts that I learned along the way that I'm going to share with you today. So, my first suggestion is find a good partner to work with. Don't try to boil the ocean. I know everybody out there wants to support multi-cloud, but I'm telling you right now, there's just way too many features, different pricing models. There's way too much training and competencies that it takes to be able to do that. So my suggestion is that you start with a non-hyperscaler cloud environment. And the reason that I would say to start with that and start with one is that you can always expand to multi-cloud later on. But some of the advantages you're going to get from working with a non-hyperscaler cloud is that you're going to have much better support and, more importantly, much better margins. So a lot of the alternative cloud market is priced almost 50% below what the hyperscalers are priced at. And that, starting out as an MSP, is extremely important because that becomes cost saving that you can pass on to the client. That also becomes, of course, additional margin that you can put into your pocket. Those partnerships between the CSP and the MSP at that level is going to also be much more geared towards helping the MSP be successful, because those two rely on each other much heavier. I know from my experience having done it that they can help with anything from what billing systems you can use that integrate with their product offerings, what you should be priced at to be competitive in the market. There's all sorts of different product offerings that they're going to be familiar with and be able to help you that go beyond maybe necessarily their core cloud. And so they're going to be geared more towards helping MSPs be successful. The next thing I would say is that you need to have a solid value proposition. Find your niche in the market. Don't just go, okay, well, I found this partner. They list that they can do all of these different things on their website, so I'm going to try to do those same things as well. There's lots of different ways to be successful selling cloud. My recommendation would be find that specific place where you want to be an expert in the market. Maybe you're going to be the most affordable VDI, remote desktop solution for accountants who need to be able to have workers out using QuickBooks, okay? That's a good niche that you can focus on. Those are ones I've actually seen that have been successful. Maybe you're going to just be the local cloud expert. You're going to go to chamber events. You're going to be the one who's actually helping teach about security and ways that people can optimize the way that they're doing business in the cloud, and you're that local expert. I know we had one client that their whole business model was based around voice system, VoIP over IP. And we were able to help them build a hybrid solution where they had both bare metal and services in the cloud that could scale based on the workloads they had. And they were very, very good at being able to provide cost-effective services with us. They said that their competitors all talk on Reddit, and they talk about how everybody's moving to the hyperscalers right now, and they're getting killed on cost. And this gave them an advantage because we were able to be 50% cheaper than the hyperscaler alternative, and that gave them a competitive advantage in the cloud. So finding that value proposition, you can always expand that as you go. The next thing I would suggest you do is have a good plan for how you're going to actually get into that niche market. So once again, there's always a little bit of fake it till you make it when you're starting out in any new business opportunity, but that's natural because the technology is changing so quickly. There's always lots to learn. So don't feel like you have to know it all, but also don't go in unprepared. I actually think that a good strategy would be to just build a checklist that you can go through, sit down with your client, and start looking at like what their expectations are. Are they trying to get it moved to the cloud because they're trying to save money on CapEx? Are they trying to get better support from you as an MSP than maybe what they have right now? Or maybe they just went through an expansion process and it didn't work very well, and so they want more flexibility that they would get from the cloud. If you sit down and you go through a checklist and you really plan that project out, then you're going to meet the expectations of the client much better. And then you're going to know how to plan for what happens after that migration is done as well. So after that migration is done, you can sit and to talk about the backup strategy with Acronis to make sure that they have reliable data now and that it's secure, and those sorts of things that come after the fact as well. The next thing I want to talk about is building cloud native. I'm just checking my time here. So a lot of MSPs start with a lift and shift model where they just take and let's back up the infrastructure and let's put it in the cloud. And that's not a bad method. That's a method that's used across the entire industry right now, but it's not exactly the best way to go about it. There's lots of problems that can come from that that I've seen firsthand, such as the performance doesn't quite meet the expectation. And so suddenly you're on the day of the actual migration, having moved everything over, trying to figure out how to increase resources suddenly on the fly because everything is built into this one monolithic VM that was just moved over from their on-site server. Well, what happens when you take and you suddenly on the fly change all the resources is 30 days later, the customer gets this unexpected cloud bill that they're now unhappy because the migration didn't go smooth, and they're unhappy because the cost didn't meet the expectation that they had. So if you try to build more cloud native, and what I mean by that is use some of the services that are offered by the cloud platform, whether that be built-in VPN as a service so that you can still have it be protected the same way as when it was on premise, when it comes to maybe local IP addresses and the way that the workstations connect locally. Maybe it be use the database as a service and separate out the product offerings so that they can scale at different levels. These are the type of things that when you're building more cloud native are going to inherently make the process go more smooth. Those last minute upgrades are never an ideal situation to be in. The next thing is have a strategy for growth. What happens next? A lot of mistakes I see MSPs make is they don't value their time. And so what happens is they don't price their services in such a way that they can then hire people to expand and duplicate what they're doing. So make sure that you've got a plan for how you're going to grow, that you're pricing your stuff accordingly, and then you'll be much more successful having that plan, even if you have to adjust it after you start learning a little bit as you actually get into building this out into a successful business and started maybe now looking at multi-cloud, maybe now look at additional product offerings that are vertical to that niche that you found. And then you can start looking at ways that you can use those cloud tools to get monitoring and reporting, to deliver reports to your customer about the performance of their stuff in the cloud, and then expanding your business use case with that partner that you've got or that customer that you've got as well. And the last thing I want to talk about is, of course, that Virtuoso can help any MSP with this, you can come see us at the booth that we've got down the hall. They can help align you with a partner so that you can get with somebody that can help you be successful in selling cloud. You can visit their website as well. And then if you are interested in utilizing your own infrastructure, they can do that as well. So they have an approach that you can tackle it at each level, whether you want to just resell somebody else's or you want to be able to do infrastructure yourself. They can help you, and they've got people there that can get you going. All right, thank you very much. I'm out of time.